Welcome to Weather to Watch. Twin hurricanes spinning off the coast of Florida and off the southeastern coast of the United States in general. Will any of this activity affect the U.S. proper? We'll find out. Hi, I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. It's not too often that you see twin hurricanes this close to each other in any of the oceans, actually. And there is one thing going on here where, there's the Fujiwara effect where you have one storm going around the other. I don't know if that's necessarily going on, but these storms are affecting each other to the point where the circulation around this storm is actually helping to steer this one back out to sea. So that is definitely a plus. In other words, if this storm didn't exist, there's a chance that this particular one might have come ashore in, let's say, the Carolinas. Let's take a look at put names to these storms. Here's Imelda. Now, this is not terribly organized. And what's fascinating about this picture, though, is, and I don't know if you necessarily know this, but for really efficient hurricanes, you'll notice the low clouds here that are not colored are rotating in a counterclockwise fashion like you would expect low pressure in the northern hemisphere to do. But at the upper levels of the storm, that's where the cold colors are. Notice how the circulation is this way. So it circulates like a high pressure system. That's exactly what's happening. It's relatively low, the pressure that is at the surface of the sea, and above the storm, relatively high. And that's what is helping to drive the storm, evacuating air from the top of it. Notice that it's not moving very much, but it's already beginning its turn. So it's going to basically start going this way here this evening. And we'll take a look at Humberto, which was a major hurricane at one time, third of the year. It still has some very cold tops, but it's a little lopsided. So now one side of the storm has the colder tops, whereas the circulation is somewhere in here. So that storm is, I think, going to rapidly deteriorate. In fact, the Hurricane Center kind of agrees with that. The track of Humberto is going to be a little more to the northeast, then more to the east, and then it's going to die out pretty quickly by actually tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. Imelda, meanwhile, is going to take a beeline almost right heading toward Bermuda, which is under a hurricane warning right now, and that would happen around midnight or so, somewhere in that vicinity tomorrow night. Actually, that would be Wednesday night. Yes, that would be tomorrow night. Sorry about that. And those are the two storms that are active in the Atlantic right now, right here and here. And then nothing actually by the Hurricane Center for the next 7 days out over the open Atlantic. So here's the hurricane season so far. There have been 9 storms listed up here. And you can see where it's purple. These have been major hurricanes. And then the tropical storms are in yellow, and there's been a few of those as well. And you can kind of look at this general area right here and see how what I just drew matches this. It matches it pretty well. These are September, basically, hurricanes. They go back 100 years or so. And again, some of these do find their way in here. Once again, it's worth reminding you that Imelda probably would have gone this way if it weren't for the steering effects of Humberto. Now, as we go into October tomorrow, notice how the activity drops like a rock. We're only talking about over 100 years, 30 to 49 named storms for the entire month. So we really see a decline pretty quickly in the month of October when it comes to tropical storms and hurricanes. So this is the 25 Atlantic hurricane season. This is the last forecast. Named storms 13 to 18, hurricanes 5 to 9, major hurricanes 2 to 5. We have had 9 named storms so far, 3 hurricanes. All of them have made it to major status so far. Actually, that is Imelda probably will. I'm not sure if it will or not. That might be a little bit off there. We might have 4 hurricanes now. I'd have to check and see. But anyway, it looks as if, with the season starting to kind of relax a little bit over the next couple of weeks, still can get some storms for sure. But I don't know if we'll reach this named storm guideline or the hurricane forecast, actually. So here's all the names that have gone in so far. Jerry would be next on the list. If we go down and look at the Tuesday issuance of the forecast for week 2 and week 3, week 2, they think there might be a slight chance, maybe between greater 20 and 40% out here to the east of the Windward Islands, and then again a hotbed of activity here. Now, all the stuff you see here is basically, unless something changes, is going to head over the continent and onto the other side over to the Pacific Ocean. All right, well, the temperatures across the country are interesting. Caribou, Maine's at 55 degrees right now. Meanwhile, it's 85 in North Dakota. And some of these areas up in the Dakotas are as warm as it is in Florida or in South Texas. So very interesting pattern. Cooler in the Northwest, a trend that will continue to be sort of amplified over the next couple of days. I'll show you the upper level pattern here in a minute. This is temperature anomaly. So this isn't actually reading temperatures. This is actually saying how far above normal are these temperatures? And parts of southern Canada and even the northern U.S. are approaching 30 degrees above what's considered the normal high for that time of year. So very, very toasty up there. Here in Springfield, where I live, we're about 14 degrees above our normal for this time in the day. Take a look now at the mean 500 millibar flow. It started yesterday, going through all this week and ending on Sunday. So this is the 500 millibar flow. So it's a classic ridge here, trough here setup. So the trough is indicated by where the lines dip. This is the anomaly showing that for this time of year in this pattern, this is dipping down southward a little bit more than you might expect. This is rising northward quite a bit more than you would expect over the Great Lakes. And it helps to explain the temperature anomaly, which, remember the map I just showed you? Well, the average for the next 7 days, actually technically 6 days now, I guess, almost looks identical to what I just showed you. So expect it to be very toasty in the central U.S., somewhat cooler in the western United States. We'll take a look at, again, the colors indicate departure. The numbers indicate the actual highs. So 87 in Springfield tomorrow, and close to that reading over much of the northern plains, where readings are going to be, again, 20 to 25 degrees, probably above normal through parts of North Dakota and almost all of Minnesota. Meanwhile, still cool in Maine and much of the Northeast, and the western, let's say, quarter of the U.S. still remaining pretty cool. That's Wednesday. And then on Friday, again, this really doesn't move a whole lot, although we do see that in the west, we see a little bit more advancement of the cooler temperatures there. And we go to Saturday. We still, actually Sunday, I'm sorry, the heat spreads into the northeast a little, but this becomes a lot more pronounced. There's a little storm moving through the upper atmosphere right here through this time period. I'll show you that in a minute. As far as what the temperature prediction is and confidence of it being above or below normal, pretty high confidence that the, let's say, eastern 1/3 of the U.S. is going to be above normal. And then the cooling effects of these storms coming ashore in the west can be seen right there. Not necessarily below normal, just getting back to what's considered normal is what they're forecasting. And this begins Monday of next week. Now, leading into that, let me show you what the 500 millibar flow for the GFS model is showing. On Friday, we have a pretty sharp little trough moving in. Again, it's going to be cooler underneath these as a general rule. So you can kind of see where that's being carved out. And then on Sunday, that storm moves quickly from here to here. And if you're wondering if that's a severe weather producer, no sign of that yet. It might be that the atmosphere is a little bit too dry, not enough moisture has come up to really activate that. But notice another trough is kind of forming and looping around the bend. So that's what's going to help to make the west, generally speaking, even into early next week, pretty cool. The 500 millibar flow now features a high basically over northern Illinois. A little bit of a blocking pattern here since we have low pressure in the southeast connected to those hurricanes and a pretty big trough of low pressure offshore. And you can see the latest front as indicated by that cloud deck right there coming ashore in Oregon and Northern California and even Washington. And the last thing we'll do is take a look at the visible satellite loop, and you can clearly see these storms here swirling away as they do, affecting, again, coastal areas of the Carolinas, but not to a great extent. Meanwhile, high clouds, mostly in the central plain, not much to write home about there. And again, increasingly unsettled in the west. No real severe weather in the area, and the only rain showing up in the U.S. would be along eastern and southeastern coastal areas of Florida later in the week, where they could get 5-6 inches of rain in that area, but that's several days away. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.